Coming up on today's show, could the Baltimore Ravens be interested in signing corner Stephon Gilmore in free agency? We'll show you what one outlet had to say, naming Baltimore as a top destination to sign Gilmore. Also, ESPN has their offseason grade report for your Baltimore Ravens. We'll show you what that is, their analysis, react to it coming up here on this edition of the program. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. We need your help here on Ravens Rundown. I need you to share today's show. Here's what you need to do. Click the share button, select the Facebook icon, click post to Facebook, sound off in the description, and then tag us, Baltimore Ravens by Chat Sports. And let's get this show out to as many people as we can. Let's grow the flock. We want to see this show be a part of as many members of Ravens Nation as possible. Do your part. Share today's show. Scratch our back. We'll scratch yours, and we'll get started here on the program. Let's begin with Stephon Gilmore, the free agent corner, looking for a new home heading into 2024. Feels like he's on a different team every year, despite having a pretty good career at this point in time. Last Word on Sports has named the Ravens as a top destination for Gilmore's services, saying the following. The Ravens still have one of the best defenses next to the Chiefs in the league. Much of their roster is going to be different next year since Rock Ya-Sin and Ronald Darby are heading to other teams. They need a reliable veteran to help the opposite of Marlon Humphrey. Baltimore is looking to rebuild their secondary, which is why they use first-round pick on cornerback Nate Wiggins. However, Gilmore could provide some mentorship and experience to help greet Wiggins. Teaming up with Lamar Jackson on the same roster would open up the opportunity for a run at a Super Bowl. The two-time MVP is bound to win one, but some help on defense would be beneficial to make this team stellar. Now, let me say this. I like Gilmore a lot. I think he's had a very good career. He would be a nice asset to whatever team he goes to. For me, this is not about Gilmore, but more about the Ravens situation. The Ravens, I think, are pretty good at the cornerback position. When you say need a veteran opposite of Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Stephens is coming off a pretty good season. And Nate Wiggins, I think the mentorship aspect, all of that is kind of overblown, if you will. We told you earlier in the week here on the channel about how the talk within the Ravens organization about Nate Wiggins was how mature he was. That although he can't buy a Mike's Hard Lemonade, that he is already looking wise beyond his years. And I think with Humphrey and Stephens there, he's got plenty of mentorship that he could possibly need. So with that said, Gilmore, still a fantastic resume, former Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. He's going to make a case for the Hall of Fame someday, Stephon Gilmore is. But unless something drastically changes, I just don't see this happening for the Baltimore Ravens. Not to mention, they're kind of limited on cap space right now. The statistics from Gilmore, pretty solid. You can see last year had 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions the year prior, 2 interceptions the year before that. His coverage stats were kind of hit and miss last year. You can see his completion percentage allowed was less than 55%, but he still did give up a ton of yards, 653, 4 touchdowns, and a QB rating of 83. But here's what I'm talking about when it comes to the Ravens depth chart, folks. I just don't see the need here. TJ Tampa, you also drafted in the 4th round. I'm pretty high on him. Arthur Mollett had a good camp. He's a pretty solid nickelback option for you. Jalen Armour-Davis there. Now, here's one thing I would keep an eye on. This is the possibility I would leave open for Stephon Gilmore. Let's say this continues, that he is still available in a few weeks from now when training camp starts. The Ravens have had some of the worst luck when it comes to injuries, and the cornerback position is another example of that. We saw it firsthand within the last couple of seasons. If something were to happen to Humphrey, Wiggins, Stephens, whoever it may be, name your corner, I don't care, then I'm calling up Stephon Gilmore and I'm saying, get your ass over here. We need you right now. But barring that from happening and Gilmore being on the market, whatever it may be, I just don't see the need. But if he still is available a few weeks from now and something happens, by all means, go ahead and bring Gilmore in. Now, let's ask you, should the Ravens sign Stephon Gilmore? It's our pinned comment today. You got 2 options here. You can either type Y for yes, you can type in for no. You're about to get an ad break. Go ahead and chime in and let us know what you think if the Ravens should sign Gilmore. Nate Wiggins jerseys on sale now at chatsports.com/Wiggins. Speaking of the corner position, a lot of excitement about Nate Wiggins heading into 2024. Perfect time to get his jersey right as his career begins. He's going to wear the number 2, so swap out that 1 for the 2. And we have men's and women's options, all sorts of different sizes. Got the home, the away. Go see for yourself. Free shipping available as well. Chatsports.com/Wiggins to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Wiggins. All right, the offseason almost wrapped up for your Baltimore Ravens as the countdown to training camp is on. And the folks at ESPN, Seth Wolder, graded all 32 teams with their performances this offseason with their additions and subtractions, trades, free agent signings, draft picks, and all of that, including the Baltimore Ravens. And the grade that ESPN gave the Ravens for the offseason was a B. And I'll be honest, I think that's a fair grade. We knew that this offseason the Ravens had some challenges that presented themselves with limited cap space and 20-plus free agents. You were going to lose some guys, but considering the circumstances, I think the Ravens really did what they could with the hand that they were dealt, right? Here's ESPN's breakdown. Let's go piece by piece on this. The biggest move, re-signing Justin Madubuike to that 4-year, $98 million deal, locking him up for a very long time. The most liked move from ESPN was signing Derrick Henry, but not just the fact that they signed Derrick Henry, but also that they got him for only $9 million guaranteed, which was less than a number of running backs on the market, and you could argue that Derrick Henry was the best one available. The most disliked move was losing Kevin Zeitler in free agency at the offensive guard position there for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, my assessment, breaking down the breakdown of ESPN's thoughts, I agree with Madubuike and Henry. I loved both those moves for the Baltimore Ravens. You had to bring Madubuike back. Given the choice between Madubuike or Patrick Queen, I thought DaCosta made the right call going with Madubuike and locking him up long term. Derrick Henry, not only did you bring in a running back that's still playing at a high level, but he also fits the Ravens' style of play on offense with how aggressive and tough and physical he is. Now, losing Zeitler, I know it's, it wasn't ideal, if you will, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as people think when you factor in other guys like Ben Cleveland that could potentially step up. Roger Rosengarten, I think, is going to be an upgrade at the right tackle position, so that'll help things on the right side of the offensive line. Andrew Voorhees now available after he missed all last year. I don't think that's as big of a deal as what some may think. We'll dive more into this here in just a second, but let's ask you, how would you grade the Ravens offseason? I'd go about B+, if I'm going to be honest with you. What would be your grade? Let us know in the comments section below. Ravens Rundown, closing in on 17,000 subscribers here on the channel, less than 300 away from that next milestone. For the latest happenings in your favorite team all offseason long, subscribe now, never miss a moment. If the Ravens make a move of some sorts, we're going to break it down here on the channel here as quickly as possible. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/RavensTV. Never miss a moment. All right, let's go piece by piece with their analysis on the Ravens offseason, starting with Derrick Henry. Even though Henry has been on the decline for some time, he has always had a large workload. If he splits carries in Baltimore, he could absolutely bring efficiency to its offense. And I do think he's going to split carries. You talk about the depth of this running back room. The rookie Rasheen Ali comes to town. Justice Hill's back. You're going to get Keaton Mitchell back in the rotation at some point this year, although he's not expected to be available when the season begins. And I think Derrick Henry is going to be great. If you keep him healthy, I think he's going to be a natural fit. And another plus side with Derrick Henry, he, along with the other running backs, I think will kind of alleviate the load, if you will, off of Lamar Jackson, where Lamar won't have to run as much, which is something that Todd Monken has talked about, that they've emphasized, that they want Lamar to become more of a pocket passer and not have to scramble too much. And I think Derrick Henry is going to help in that sense. Let's go to the defense now. As far as the Madubuike signing goes, this is what Walter had to say. Baltimore signed Madubuike to a big $98 million deal with $48.5 million fully guaranteed. There's no question the Ravens needed a pass rusher, And it's hard to fault them for paying the defensive tackle after a huge season where he recorded 13 sacks, but I'm a little worried. Now, I'll say this. When it comes to Madubuike, it is a risk, no question, because if you look at the statistics, comparably speaking to last year with his previous seasons, it was, an outlier, if you will, right? But I think that version of Justin Madubuike that we saw last year is here to stay. I think that it wasn't just a one-hit wonder, if you will, like All-Star was from Smash Mouth. I think that Madubuike is going to continue in that his best football is still ahead of him, quite frankly. I like that the Ravens went all in on Madubuike. Lastly, the offensive line. Tackle Morgan Moses and guard John Simpson went to the Jets via free agency and trade, respectively. Ziegler left for Detroit, and they'll have to rely on their depth and possibly rookie tackle Roger Rosengarten to reshape that unit, which might be dicey. I'm more confident in the O-line than what some people like this Seth dude are giving them credit for. Ronnie Stanley looks healthy. He feels rejuvenated. He's expecting a big year. I think Voorhees is going to be solid. Tyler Linderbaum, arguably the best center in football. Ben Cleveland has looked pretty good when he's got an opportunity. We need to see that consistency. And I've been high on Roger Rosengarten for a long time. I told you the day before he got drafted that the Ravens were going to draft him. And I think he's a natural fit to eventually be your starting left tackle whenever Ronnie Stanley departs. So John Harbaugh has said it. I believe it. This offensive line is going to be better than advertised. Now, with the offseason nearing an end, are the Ravens okay as is, or do they need to go get another piece or two? Let us know. Type S for sign, P for pass if the Ravens need to do anything else. If you enjoyed today's show, share the video. Let's get this show out to as many people as possible. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Ravens Rundown.